I just thought it would be a good idea right now to stop and tell my story. It's never been seen before in the world.
Moving when I do it, they ain't number pain. Digging in the dirt, ain't finding nothing but some hurt. Seeking a method that'll work. I'm going in under pressure, think I waited long enough. How much more I gotta go through just to make a way?
What's up, world? What up? What it do? Let's have a conversation about something today. So, when I started this thing, man, when I started making music, the general thing was I had an idea. I had something real cool. I can make apps. Shout out to Google, LeoLiennod app development, and all that good stuff. So I started making apps, right? I made an app called DYI, Do You Indefinitely. It was dope, but this was the problem. Like, people didn't really know me for being a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm rapping on people's stuff that, and it ain't even the name that I use now currently, LeoLiennod. So what ends up happening is some people at the top end up noticing, oh shit, it's this dude down in Pensacola, Florida that got this little thing he doing. Okay, let's see how far he goes with it. Now, not only to mention that, people abroad, but people right here in town, they, were trying to make apps too. But I was one of 6 that graduated from Pensacola State at that time that had learned some skills. I transferred to UWF, where University of West Florida, all my intellectual properties and ideas would be protected. So that's where I decided I was gonna make apps. That was in 2017. All right, now fast forward that to, I want to call it about the time Koofy got out. I had heard his mixtape. Shout out to DJ Roman Ryan. He was the one that produced the tape. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, he got just enough songs and it'll fit on the app I was making. So I'm just gonna do him a solid. We had already had a relationship with a song called Checks. You can check that out on YouTube. Koofy and LeoLiennod. You can check that out. So by the time he got out, I was sitting around the Young Ski house. Shout out to Young Ski. He from the west side. He got an app too I created for him. And I was like, man, I can't believe you here. And he was like, what? He didn't understand what I was talking about at first. So when I pulled my phone out and I showed him, like, hey man, pull your phone out, let me show you some shit. So boom, right straight to Google Play. Boom, download the app to his phone. He confused because he like, man, how the fuck you do that? I'm like, bruh, I haven't been to school and shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm in school now, whatever, whoop, whoop, whoop. So he like, hey, that's tight, bro, we're gonna get up. So I guess he had to go do his background research, whatever, on what it was he actually had in his hand. And boom, that's when it starts. So now I got a couple other partners I go to school with, they rap too, whatnot, right? So boom, I hooked them up with MDA, Alchemist, this white dude named Jay Rich, and this mixed dude named Flowbird, if they still using the same names. But when I created the apps, you know what I'm saying, it was based on a friendship, like express contract, like, I'm gonna do this for y'all, we gonna rock, you know what I'm talking about, we gonna whoop whoop. They had some connections, I had some connections, we gonna put this thing together. So whoop, that was my third app. Now, me and my homie Mosquito Bug, you know what I'm saying, shout out to Bug, you know what I'm talking about, he was down with a couple other people, you know what I mean? And I was like, I really didn't want to fuck with them, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I just know the history. Like, it ain't no bad blood. It's just that ain't what I want to do. I want to stay in my lane, create my own avenues. So we create no corrections. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I produced everything. I recorded everything. I drew up the pseudo code for the app. I did all that. I'm the programmer behind the apps. Nobody else programmed, just me. You know what I'm saying? And the relationship I got with Google, it started going south because Google changed from Google Music or Google Play Music, whatever it was at the time, to it started integrating. It started to develop and change. That in itself, you know what I'm saying, that didn't put a hiccup in the plan, but it was more about, okay, at one time I had apps and music on the same platform. Yep. Shout out to Amuse.io for the distribution situation I had with them before they changed recently to not supporting the startup accounts. They want everybody to pay to put their music out. So that was, and I'll never forget, shit, I got slammed right there. Right there. I got slammed by the city of Pensacola police department. He told me I was going too fast and I smelled like alcohol or whatever. I was like, hey, bro, I just did something ain't nobody else in the world ever did before. I just literally came out with an app. You can check it. You can source it. Google Play Store. My name is LeoLiennod. Woo, woo, woo. So they had me in the back of the police car for about 30, 40 minutes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Searching for everything, searching around my car, whatever. I had a pistol, I had a Glock. Shout out to Glock. I had a Glock in my underneath my seat. But I had came home though. You know what I'm saying? I drove home to keep him from goddamn having me somewhere on a dark road up the street around the corner. You know what I'm talking about? No, I pulled on in the driveway and got the hell away from his ass. And I didn't speed. I got them turn my caution lights on and everything. I already know what he was finna do because they had been watching us in Skeeter Bug Shed put the album together. So, yeah. So when they realized, oh, okay, he's really who he says he is. He's really doing that. And then I had the music playing. So over their radio, you know what I'm saying? He got me on the ground with his knee in my back and shit, hurting me. Goddamn gun draws and shit. They can hear. They can hear the music playing, Outer Space was playing. Yeah, that was a hell of a night, man. So I dusted myself off, went on in the house. So I just continued making apps, man. I continued doing my thing. I came out with another app called iHat. I don't have a title. That featured Fishbone, Skeeter Bug, Kufion, Black Sean, and me. You know what I'm saying? We had a track together on them. But the thing is, man, what ain't nobody else doing that. Nobody else is making musical audio apps that in that format. And what that is, I want you to take this away. So imagine when music first started, it was just live music, like wasn't no recorded. Then somebody came up with an idea to record the music and sell it, you know, to individuals on records. 18-inch records. Then it went from 18-inch records to single 45-inch records to excuse me, I said that backwards, but I think you understand. The big records with all the songs on it to the small record with just them singles, you know, flip it over, whatever, to the 8-track where you could fast forward, push play, push stop, but you couldn't rewind, to the cassette tapes. Well, everybody knows what cassette tapes were. Hopefully they do. You can put it in, fast forward, rewind, flip it over, all that good stuff. To compact disc, everybody knows what CDs are. To SD cards, to MP3 players. Shout out to iTunes for the iPod. To actual USB drives, universal bus drives, where I can house gigabytes worth of music on a drive. To streaming, which we're all familiar with. Well, just imagine somebody coming up with a way to go global instantly in the Google Play Store with applications, encrypted applications to where you can't copy, steal, or neglect the process by bootlegging on any level, unless you're a developer as well, or the platform that I'm actually giving my SDK and my APIs to, Google. Imagine that. That's the lesson for the day. No matter what they talking about or what they saying, ain't damn one of them, ain't nobody outside of my little circle had access to see for themselves, oh, okay, this boy really sitting here putting this shit together. Like, for real, old country ass nigga. And I ain't saying that in disrespect. I'm saying to the level of just a regular old person to a street executive to an actual CEO of a small business, to the point to where if you go on Google Play right now, or you go to my website, because I also develop websites, www.leoliennod.com, you can see for yourself. You could just go to my Play Store console, to my profile, and you can see, okay, that's what the problem is. Because if he gets enough money in his hands, he gonna be able to continue creating apps. And it ain't even about money. Because see, over time, Google's deprecated some of the code I use. And Android is upgraded to like API 32. You gotta be intelligent enough to understand what I'm saying to get it, for it to even resonate with you. This phone, it's got an operating system to it. This is iOS. And that's a funny thing too, because see, duality was also at play. And as I began working toward duality, I realized that it would cost me more to have the apps in the Apple App Store than it would to have the apps in the Android store. It cost me $25 for a lifetime membership as a Google developer, versus paying $100 annually, which every year I got to give you $100 to have my apps inside the App Store with Apple. No disrespect to Apple, but that's just way too expensive. And as far as protection goes, my intellectual properties, from once I started this, I've been the same person, it's been the same company, it's been the same deal. I don't think it's necessary for me to go into Apple's world with my applications until I perfect it to the point to where there are no errors, there's no API that has to keep being upgraded, none of that. So before I spend money that way, or before I spend time and effort and energy trying to make something for both, exclusivity is also a key. Because see, you also have people out here that know how to download to the older devices, that still have older devices. There's still countries in the world that haven't caught up yet. And it's amazing to them that they're able to go in the Play Store and download most of my apps for free. But the genius behind that is the music can be streamed as well. Like most of the songs are on streaming platforms such as iTunes and Apple Music. And I just thought it would be a good idea right now to stop and tell my story, because in the end of the day, or at the end of the day, that idea is play protected. That idea is my intellectual property. That idea is something that has never been seen before in the world. And from old Southern boy, old Southern man, you know what I'm talking about, deep down in the belly of the South, in the city of the Five Flags, Pensacola, Florida, had the mindset and the idea to say, how can I be different? How can I come out? How can I put myself on my own pedestal and stay in my own lane? Like, ain't no big head, ain't no gloping, but life is to be celebrated, especially when you have those type of achievements under your belt. And that's one of the things that I brought to the table, I brought to the industry. In fact, I created a whole nother avenue for the industry, because see, most artists, they just do one thing. They one trick ponies. They just know how to write, or they know how to freestyle, or they know how to make a beat, or they know how to, you know, produce. You know, most artists, they one-trick ponies. They not into merch. Merch is spent off from my idea. They're not into the back end of it. They confused and frustrated about how come they not getting it. They got 1 million streams, and how come they not getting paid $1 million and whatnot? Why they ain't got no platinum album? You know, they into the aesthetics of the whole concept of business. They're not really aware that, hey man, it's a lot you can do. You know, you don't just writing raps. You know what I mean? You're an instrument yourself, not just your voice, not just your looks. You know, not just your ties in, ties out, but the whole self. I'm Donneil Weatherspoon. I'm LeoLiennod. I'm LeoliennodPRODUCTIONS LLC. A trifecta, like a triple threat, a real. If this young man had the studio set up to the point of where everything sounds that quality that people go after, that's not even necessary, because the sound that I portray or that I put out here for everybody is the way, what it makes me feel good. Like I could be listening to, and I'm shouting them out because I need him to understand. I could be listening to Maybach music. You know, I could be listening to Rick Ross. You know what I'm saying? They sound is like amazing. Like I love it. Like that's one of the things I love about hearing Rick Ross. Like his quality of sound is awesome. You know what I mean? But at the same time, Rick ain't making no apps. Rick ain't doing, you know, the homeboy thing like that. Like he ain't taking those L's to get the way he need to be. He already took those L's. I'm taking L's to get to the next level. My time's been sacrificed. My money's been sacrificed. Relationships have been sacrificed. Shit, some of my homeboys dead, locked up. Ain't never gonna see them again. You know what I'm talking about? And then the rest of them, they just, I don't even know how to explain that other than still my homeboys though. Like, you know what I mean? We might not communicate every day, but I'm still around. You know what I'm saying? I'm still putting this thing together. But a partnership, a real partnership, is not about how much work you putting in or what you doing with you know, this part. It's more about, are we bringing in money together? And then if we splitting it, are we splitting it together? How, you know, how the splits looking? You know, I had a perfect story. On one of my albums, I literally, I was excited. And I was like, dang, I just made $2.50. I just made $2.50 out of thin air though. Out of thin air, just using my noodle. I was able to put together a project, distribute it. And this is at a time where things like that weren't even heard of. People were still putting together CDs, passing them out, handing them out, selling them, whatever. But I had the sense enough to go global and put things together. And when I got the royalty payout, I'm like, hey, bro, I got the money. Look, we got about 30,000 streams right here. So at least a couple $100, right? But see, that's all part of learning. You know what I mean? I didn't know I wasn't gonna get nothing but like $2.50. But I did have the analytics to be able to show where the money came from. So I knew how to pay people out. So when I went to them with their money, they laughed at me. Those are the type of moments that make me not like want to keep going with a particular group of people. Like, why put my efforts in over here if you're gonna laugh at the results of it? Because the big picture was, bruh, we made this out of thin air.